Morning, everyone. It's Friday morning, last trading day of the week before a shortened week next week. Monday is Martin Luther King Day. Okay, so this is your pre-opening comment for Friday the 15th of January, and it's video number 598. And if you like the work, hit that subscribe button. We really could use the support. Okay, economic news in general, kind of soft. Asia and Europe were both down. We had the president-elect speak last night on his relief plan, which looks like 1.9 trillion as the first step, and that does not include the infrastructure bill, which is his step 2 next month, he said. The Chinese premier wrote a letter to Starbucks, excuse me, to Howard Schultz, asking him for guidance on repairing the China-U.S. trade. We'll see if that means anything at all. Okay, so Amazon's Blue Origin yesterday had a successful takeoff, and they are talking about having people at the edge or into space starting as early as April. So that's kind of interesting. Space, Virgin Galactic has a test flight coming next week, so that's part of it. By the way, I mentioned it last night. I think it bears mentioning again that most of these space plays, excuse me, were up on yesterday's news that Kathy Woods from ARC, who is infamous for her Tesla calls and disruptive technologies, is doing a space-based fund, and there's been a lot of front running. Okay, Airbnb came out and said that we will never be back travel-wise to pre-pandemic levels. So we'll have to see if they're right. On the excuse me, economic information, we have retail sales down 0.7% versus an expectation of 0.1%. So actually a pretty ugly number. And ex-auto, that number is down 1.4%. So auto sales being what they are now, really flying up. You can see it in all of the earnings releases and car sales numbers, GM in particular. Excuse me, PPI up 0.3 versus an expectation of 0.4. Ex-food, it was 0.4 and was expected at 0.8. The Empire Index, which is a manufacturing index, was horrendous, 3.5 versus 6. So, in other minor news, we have SAP coming out and saying that they have flat earnings and revenues, and that sales are soft. The stock is trading 125.84, and that's down about $5 on the week. Others that have moved today was the first day of earnings for some of the banks. JP Morgan, which beat top and bottom, is down $1.17 at 140, but you have to remember that the stock in the last 2 weeks has gone from 125 to 143, so that's pretty decent. Citi and Wells Fargo both beat on earnings and both missed on revenues. So, I'm assuming layoffs and write-downs and such is how they managed to show a profit. But the bottom line is they don't have growth. So down revenues at Citi, the stock is $67.60, down $1.44. Excuse me, but on a bi-weekly basis, meaning the last 2 weeks, the stock has basically moved from 60 to 70. So down $1.44 at 67 and change is not a big deal. Wells Fargo, same situation, poor revenues, stock 33.5 down $1.25, but that one too has moved. It has a week ago's low of 29.40 and this week's high of 35.10. So also pretty decent. The pot stocks are dramatically higher. This is definitely a legalization on a federal level speculation. Tilray, all of these stocks have been very strong. To give you the best example, the ETF MJ has gone from 1440 to 21, which is a 24% gain, and it's up $4 on the week, and it's 2078, up 92 cents on the day. And two more little minor items, and that is that GM is talking about an electric Corvette SUV. I can't imagine that works. Corvettes are Corvettes for a very specific reason and for a very specific demographic. A Corvette SUV, this is the old GM clutching at straws and failing. The stock, however, in the last week is 51.62, and that's up 8.60. And last but not least, Tillman Fertitta. If you don't know him, he's the whiniest billionaire ever. They have him on CNBC on Tuesdays, usually, Tillman Tuesdays. And like I said, he's the whiniest. Oh, my poor basketball team. Oh, my poor gambling. Oh, my poor restaurants. So the guy's a billionaire and he's bitching and moaning about all this crap. And the bottom line is today it looks like he's talking about doing another SPAC for another part of his empire. And this guy really annoys me, if you couldn't tell. He did a non-arm's length transaction a couple of months ago, which I can't believe he even got away with. He owns Gold Nugget in Las Vegas, and he raised money for a SPAC and then turned around and sold his online gaming portion of the company to the SPAC, which he still remains in control of. I really don't go for guys who, rape the public by these self-dealing transactions. All right, everyone. Right now, the Dow futures are down about 120. NASDAQ has turned slightly lower. JP Morgan is selling off, down over $2, and the S&P is down 18. Have a good morning.